Check 1 2. Can you hear me? I can hear me. Alright. Let's start things off with a cough. How we doing, friends? Welcome to the Farts and Friends stream. We're gonna be doing some investigator ranking today for Arkham Horror the LCG. But first, I'd like to suggest to all my friends to support us on Patreon. Economy's a little rough right now, so and I don't necessarily have a job, so this would go a long way. Oh, why can't I put the link? Let me put the link in the farts. And apparently I have to log in. Okay, to say something, friends. Wow, when you try to be prepared and you're just not. Farts and farts and who my friends? And then this. Did I do it? No. Oh, and I gotta do a code. Oh my god. You know, you try to do everything right, and the littlest thing just gets you. Okay, there we go. There we go. Can I say something now? I can. There we go. The Patreon link is in the chat right now. So, be a homie and sign up if you'd like to support us. Okay, so let's get her done. Um, let's see, we're going to start things off with we've got a tier ranking system that I lifted directly from my heroes at playing board games. So we're going to start with S tier. S tier is like broken, super good. This investigator probably is a little overtuned. A plus, best of the best that's not necessarily broken. These are really good investigators that I recommend playing all the time. Uh, A tier, really good investigators. They're great. They're fantastic. B plus, decent, decent enough. B tier, average. C tier, not great. D tier is practically unplayable. I would never choose this investigator unless I'm trying to meme. All right. Let's start things off with a little bit of. This is my first tier list, by the way. I'm so excited. Um, I'm nervous. I did no homework on this, so we'll see how it goes. We're gonna start things off with Roland Banks. Now, Roland Banks, as many say, is kind of like the average investigator. I don't know how I feel about that. I think Roland Banks' ability is pretty good. Roland Banks is, hi, how you doing? Roland Banks is a guardian. I think he's decent enough. His ability is super awesome. I'm not a fan of his stats. I'm gonna throw Roland Banks. I'm gonna throw Roland Banks in B plus because I think his ability does net you some tempo. I think he's a touch above average for that reason. So we're gonna go B plus with Roland Banks. Up next, we got Daisy Walker. Daisy Walker is a seeker. She's got 5 book, which is pretty notable, and her ability is to get a free action once per turn to use a book. Daisy Walker, one of my favorite investigators from a long time ago. I've played Daisy probably more than just about any investigator. Can I move my picture to the upper right corner? I would love to. Can I do that? I don't know that I can do that. Let me try. Hey, look. I can do that. What a great idea. Thank you, Sydney. Wait, I got to move the logo too. We got to do some work. There. And the follower goal. How's that? We good? I did. Excellent. All right, back to Daisy Walker. Daisy Walker is Daisy Walker is the book user. As I was saying, Daisy's an A plus. You just get fantastic tempo out of Daisy. Um, you can use that book action to support your teammates. You can use it to get more clues with the new Grim Memoir. It doesn't get better than Daisy unless you're breaking the game. So we're going to move Daisy to A plus. Skids O'Toole. Skids O'Toole. He's the first rogue investigator released, and his ability is you get to spend 2 resources to take an extra turn. I'm not dogging on his ability as much as I think other people are. That being said, his stats suck. Um, he doesn't do anything. He's not good at anything rather, except for evading, and he's not necessarily great at that. His ability is subpar at best. It's going to, it's going to cost you some, as much tempo as you're going to gain. Skids is going to cost you tempo as well. Um, there's no reason. I used to try to do some playing around things with Skids before other rogues were released. I don't think there's too much of a reason to play Skids. There just isn't. I think he's D tier. Agnes Baker, the famous Agnes Baker. Um, she's a fantastic mystic. She's got 5 in her do something stat. She also has her ability is if you take a horror, you get to deal a damage to a monster on the table. I think Agnes is pretty good. Um, I think sometimes you can get caught in a hole with Agnes to where you're taking, if you're not properly set up, or if you have some bad turns, you're going to get caught with too much horror on you. I'm going to put Agnes in A tier. I don't think she's one of my favorite investigators to play, and I think you can get in trouble with her. But she does have some pretty good compression as far as killing monsters. Wendy, Wendrew is Wendy's funny because her stat line is okay. She's got a very defensive. Hey, what's up? What's up, Elle? Wendy has a pretty defensive stat line at what is it? 4-3-1-4. Um, so she's got a defensive stat line with high brain, high foot. Her card pool um, is not. I don't think her card pool is the best. She's got Survivor 5, which Survivor 5 and Survivor 2. There's not a ton of difference there. She's got Rogue 2, which rogue cards are great, but the higher level rogue cards are the good ones, and she doesn't get access to the highest level rogue cards. That being said, her ability is phenomenal. It's very consistent. I love playing Wendy. I think she requires a little bit more setup than usual. I'm going to rank her as an A tier because she has fantastic consistency, but she just needs setup to do anything. And you get caught into a pinch, you get in a weird scenario. It can maybe not go great for Wendy in those circumstances. Her weakness is also pretty punishing. Zoe. Zoe is the economy queen. She's the chef. She's a guardian. Her stats are four. What are they? 4-2-4-2. Um, she's got the deck building where you're guardian 5, and then you get 5 cards from anything. Her deck building's okay. Her ability's pretty sweet. She makes a lot of money that way. Um, her stat line is okay, pretty defensive as far as the 4 brain goes. But excuse me, but four might is not fantastic. I don't know. I think she's a little, you know. Yes, I'm winning. Thank you. Uh, I think that Zoe is decent. She's not fun to play sometimes because she's a little boring with her ability. I'm gonna rank her. hmm, I'm gonna rank her as a B plus. I think she's actually on par with Roland Banks. I disagree with folks that rank her a little less solidly than that. All right. The Rex Murphy, the one that everybody says is so phenomenally good. Um, I don't agree. I think Rex is pretty good. Um, Rex's ability is that once per turn, you get a free clue whenever you beat it in investigation by 2 or more. Here's the problem with Rex. You got to overshoot it, so you gotta beat the investigation test by 6. Or I'm sorry, you effectively have a 2 in your book stat if you're trying to get that extra clue every time, and he starts with a 4. So bumping that down to 2 so that you get your extra clue and having to compensate appropriately. Three brain is okay. 3 foot is okay. Um, his card access is okay. We're gonna put Rex in A tier. I don't think he's as game breaking as a lot of other people do. I wanna. Rex is also like not fun. He's not a fun character to play. His weakness actually is a little punishing. Jenny Barnes. Jenny Barnes nets an extra money every turn. She's got the Dunnage deck building where she gets 5 extra cards from any card pool. Level 0. She's got 3 in all her stats. The problem with Jenny is that she does money. She's simple. She does money less well than a lot of other rogues. Her threes all suck. She has no focus. I haven't played Jenny in forever. We're gonna put Jenny in C tier. Jim Culver, the Flavor King. He's a musician. He's a mystic. He's got the Dunnage deck building stats. His big thing is that whenever you draw a skull, it becomes a 0. It becomes a regular 0 token pull. It seems so fun. The reality is he's a subpar mystic. I think if Jim had a 5 in his brain, he would be pretty good. He'd be a little more consistent, um, but he doesn't. He's got a 4, and that puts him at a D tier. He's virtually unplayable. Every time I've tried to make Jim work, I haven't succeeded. Now, granted, I haven't done that in a long time because Jim sucks. Trash Can Pete. Trash Can Pete, 4 brain, 3 foot, 2's in his do something stats. The thing about Trash Can is that he comes with Duke. And, Duke is the one that does something. As many have pointed out in the past, which I agree with, Ashcan Pete is great earlier on in the campaign and starts to phase out as you continue along the campaign. And his deck building is okay. I think he's a solid B tier. He gets a great early start in a campaign and then starts to fall off. Mark Harrigan. Mark Harrigan was kind of the first prior. Rex was the first broken character when prior to Rex's nerfing through the taboo list, but Mark was also the first, the first broken investigator that kind of remained a little bit broken. He's got a 5 in his do something stat, the first guardian to do so. But the thing about Mark Harrigan is that you get to take damage to get additional points on whatever you're trying to do. You also get to draw cards when you take damage, so you have this just inherent card draw mechanic built in. Mark is good. Mark is really good. We're going to put Mark in an A+ tier. Mean Typhon. Mean Typhon is phenomenal. I think her ability is okay. She gets to add an extra pip on whatever somebody's doing a skill. The thing about Mean's ability that I really like is that everybody gets to use it. It's not just that she does it once per round or something like that. Everybody gets to use Mean's ability for themselves, whenever they pitch a card. She also has Survivor 2, Survivor 2, Seeker 5, which is a phenomenal card pool. That's really where Mean Strength comes in, as her card pool. We're going to also put Mean Typhon in an A+ tier. Safina. Granted, I have not played Safina since she came out. It's going to be hard to rank Safina. Safina's big thing is that you get to start with a huge opening hand, and she gets to duplicate events. I think that Safina needs some more cards. She's got a hole in her tech. Some additional cards would go a long way for her, that kind of work with her opening hand. The thing is I feel like her ability, her signature cards, which let her duplicate events, and her giant opening hand of 13 cards or whatever, I think they work against each other. If I had if I have this big starting hand, I want to do stuff with assets. And events kind of play against that. Her stat line also works against her ability. She's got 4224, right? Yeah, 4224. Her four brain and her 4 foot really also suggest assets. I want to use mystic assets. I want to use rogue assets. It just seems like she clashes with herself, and so Safina's going in B tier. Akachi. Akachi is a 5-brain mystic. Her card pool is pretty basic. She gets to add an extra charge to anything she does. She's boring. Excuse me, burps and buddies. She's kind of boring, but she's effective. She's strong. Whatever she's doing, she gets to do it a little bit more. She's a solid A tier investigator for me. William York. William York's ability is that he gets to recur things from his graveyard. He's functionally invincible as long as he's getting those kills. His kind of two downsides is his stats are a little weak, and his card pool's okay. I would have loved access. I would have loved access to Guardian 5 instead of Survivor 5. That being said, his ability is just so fucking strong, it's out of control. And in addition to being a strong ability, his signature is really strong too. His signature gives you campaign tempo as far as getting extra experience, and it removes a painful monster from the game. So S tier for him. Lola Hayes. Lola Hayes had the honor of being the absolute worst investigator for a long time until her taboo fixed her a bit. Um, this is, I don't care. we don't we don't use the taboo list on Farts and Friends because Broden and Miranda are a little new, and so it just feels so good to say that Lola's still D tier, so I'm going to. Leo Anderson. Leo Anderson's a guardian. He's got 4 in his might. He's got 4. Yeah, he's got 4 brain. Everything. What does he have? A 3 book, and then his foot sucks at a 1. Leo's pretty strong. He gets to play a free ally every turn. Free is in no action, and then on top of that, it's cheaper. It's 1 less. I feel like Leo starts a little slow as far as campaigns go, but then he starts gaining experience. You can start layering on those charismas, and Leo starts getting pretty strong. He's also, as many have said, the gun guy because he gets access to the rogue reload cards. I think Leo is going to be a solid A plus for me. Ursula. Ursula is the seeker everybody likes to hate. Her card pool sucks. She's seeker 5. She's got 4 in her do something stat. She's got 4 evade, which I think is actually pretty sweet for a seeker. Her ability is whenever she moves into a location, she gets a free investigate. That is a strong ability. It is an exceptionally strong ability. It gets you a lot of tempo because you don't really have to do anything. You don't have to build. You can build around it, and it's strong, but you don't have to. You're always moving, and you're always investigating. Those are the 2 things that you should be doing as a seeker all the time. She's a solid A for me. She'd be stronger if her card pool was a little better. Finn, I happen to be playing Finn in the stream that we're doing tomorrow. We're doing round 2 of the Dunwich Legacy at 6 p.m. Central to Wednesday. I'm playing Finn. I'm playing Finn as a goon, and having a great time so far. He seems to be pretty strong. Finn's a solid investigator. His 1 brain really is kind of, there are lots of ways to compensate for the 1 brain, but it's still there. If you're not set up perfectly, it can bite you in the ass. Because of the 1 brain, because of his limited rogue access, I'm going to put Finn in a B plus tier. Father Mateo. Enough said. Calvin Wright. All zeros is a stat line. Take damage. I've never played Calvin, to be honest. He's the kind of investigator where you do so much, you have to do so many things to just be like everybody else. I think he's a meme character. Carolyn Fern. It's been a long time since I played Carolyn Fern. She used to be one of my favorite investigators. I am the kind of person I like beautiful machines. I like to make decks that are kind of strange and operate in an odd fashion. Carolyn Fern's ability is whenever you heal somebody, you get to give them money too. I'm a big fan of Carolyn. I just think that she's not that strong. She's a little slow. She's very asset heavy. We're going to give Carolyn B. Joe Diamond. Joe Diamond, before he came out, Joe Diamond was like the prince that was promised. I was like, I want to see an investigator that has a 4 book and a 4 might, and they could do it all. The ultimate flex. Unfortunately for Joe Diamond, that also makes him like he's always just torn too thin. I think that there's some potential in Joe Diamond to be a lot of fun, especially if you focus on monster killing or finding clues. That being said, I think Joe's a C tier. Every time I play Joe, and it's been a long time, but every time I've played Joe, I always felt like I was just stretched so thin I couldn't actually be effective. Preston Fairmount. Preston, I've had one of the worst experiences playing Arkham when Preston first came out. He was a big money guy. He still is a big money guy. Um, I think that there's a lot of capability for Preston to do big money really well. I've never played him that way. I'm always just hesitant to play him because he's the kind of character that if you get your pants caught around your ankles, you can't do anything. He's really strong when he pops off, but otherwise I think he's B tier because you can get caught with your dink hanging out and and basically not be able to do anything. Diana Stanley. Diana Stanley's big ability is that whenever she plays a cancellation card, she places it under her. And then, of course, I almost count it as part of her investigator card. Whenever you have your little knife out, your knife lets you replay these cancellation cards. So you get to run them twice. Diana's strong. She's a real strong character. Cancellation and counter deck manipulation is really strong. Plus being a mystic, you can go in multiple directions. We're going to give Diana Stanley an A plus tier. Marie Lambeau. Marie's big ability is that you get to take an extra action to cast a spell whenever you have Doom on a card. The problem is, here are a couple problems. A, her card pool sucks the butts. B, she's got 4 in her mystic stat and 4 in her book. Um, does the 4 in her book do anything? When I played Marie, I kind of went in more of a book direction. And, it's like her ability and her stat line are just cross purposes. If she had a 5 in her brain and her book was a little lower to compensate for that, that ability would be pretty good. You can't just hang out with Doom on a player card all the time. You're going to get in trouble with that. So she doesn't get her extra action every round. Um, and her ability doesn't play into her book. She's got a high book. So what if you went in a seeker direction with her and just ran some seeker cards? Well, then you're not using your ability. I think because she's just kind of all over the place and sloppy, Marie's going to be a C tier for me. Rita Young. I haven't played Rita since she was trash. She's got a lot of cards that support her now. Um, her big thing is that she gets to deal damage when she evades something. Rita feels like B tier to me. Now, granted, I haven't played her in a while, but she just feels like B tier to me. Tommy Muldoon. First of all, he's a cop. We don't like that. Second of all, Tommy's big thing is that whenever you lose an asset because of damage or horror, you get to gain resources for it and shuffle it back into your deck. It's such a fun concept. And looking at the card, you're so excited. You're like, oh boy, I just get money and I get my assets back, and it's so fun. It's hard to work with. It never works just like you want. Plus, Tommy's fight is 4. Becky sucks. I don't care who has to hear it. Becky's trash. Um, Tommy's gonna be B tier for me. He's still great. He still has a good card pool. He's just B tier. Mandy Thompson. Oh, Mandy who used to be broken. Mandy who is no longer broken. Um, the ultimate searcher. You can just go through your deck and find what you need. I've had a great time playing Mandy. She's really strong. Mandy's going to be A plus for me. She's a good time. 5 in her do something stat. Amazing card pool. Really nice ability. A plus for sure. Tony Morgan. Tony is a rogue. He's got a 5 in his attack stat. More importantly, Tony essentially gets a free action to fight, and as a goon, that is incredibly powerful. Um, you can build Tony in a variety of ways, and he's strong every way you build him. He's got amazing rogue cards. He does a ton of damage to monsters. He can fight constantly. Uh, Tony breaks the game. When Tony's the goon, monsters do not stay alive. Luke Robinson, um, pretty trash stat line. Absolutely incredible ability. His ability is kind of a two-part ability. He gets to Luke's ability is that he gets. Hold on, I need some water. Luke's ability is that he gets to cast an event at a location adjacent to him, which in a vacuum is okay. The fact that he also gets his gate box, the gate box comes into play. It comes with charges on it, and you just get to fuck off and jump into the gate box at any time. Luke would be balanced if the gate box started off in your deck and you had to play it. The fact that you just get it and it's a get out of jail free card that you get to use multiple times a scenario, he's broken. I think he's broken. He ruins scenarios. He makes it. He's functionally invincible. You also get to like break multiple scenarios. He's too good. Patrice. Patrice. Her big ability is that you discard your entire hand every turn and draw a fresh one of 5 cards. Um, Strong ability, really strong ability functionally. However, the survivor card pool doesn't do a lot to really capitalize on it as much as you would think. There's a lot of great survivor cards that you want to hold in your hand, things like Lucky, stuff like that. Um, I've had a great time playing Patrice. The other problem is that she's got a 4 in her willpower and then 2s. Um, just based on my experience where I kind of rocked it with Patrice, we're going to put her in B plus. Um, some of these are looking a little strange. We're going to move Roland down to B. We're going to move Ashcan up to B plus. That feels more right. Yeah, okay. All right. We're moving some cards around. I feel better now. Sister Mary. Sister Mary's trash. Her big thing is that she adds a bless token every round. The problem is that she's a guardian. Her card pool is very guardian-esque. Um, she could be super awesome if she had something higher than a 3. Once you're kind of going and you have Holy Spear going and all this, she turns out pretty good. But why play Sister Mary? You could literally play anyone else. There's no point. She's a support character at best. Amanda Sharp, broken. Amanda Sharp gets to basically take a skill, and everything she does that turn is gets to use that skill. She puts down a skill, and then you just get to use it. And then next turn you put down another skill. You can break the game with Amanda Sharp so fast. You get to draw your entire deck with Perception, which means that the balancing factor of Amanda Sharp is that you have turns where the card on top of you is trash. The problem is when you're drawing through your entire deck, you never have a trash card. You're investigating a location and using deductions for every investigate. Or you're using perceptions and just draw, 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 draw. She's broken. She's absolutely broken. Trish Scarborough. I played Trish when she first came out. It was super fun. She's kind of got the Alessandra problem of she needs an enemy at our location to really do something. That being said, amazing card pool, decent ability, uh, decent stats, A plus. Dexter Drake. God, I played Dexter once and it was terrible. Dexter's probably better than I would give him credit for. He does have a 5 in his willpower stat. I'm going to play Dexter really soon. He's on my list of investigators that I want to play pretty quickly. Dexter's going to be an A tier for me. I'm putting him there on faith because um, I'm putting him there on faith because I trust that he's good. I just haven't had great experiences with him. Silas Marsh is the my favorite investigator that I've never played. Uh, in theory, he's fantastic. I feel like his gameplay would be a little boring to me, just because I'm an asset person. So, you know, I haven't had a chance to play him yet. We're gonna say B plus for Silas. Daniela Reyes. Daniela Reyes is she's like the first scenario queen. She's freaking incredible on the first scenario. As she breaks out into Survivor, she starts to drop off in power. Her card pool sucks. I hate to say it, her card pool is trash. Um, Her stats are great. Her ability's great. We're going we're going B plus on Danielle, I think. Norman Withers. Norman Withers converts into a mystic at some point. Um, he's got great stats. He's got phenomenal stats. He's got a great ability. His ability lets him play a card off the top of his deck. Um, big fan of Norman Withers. I think Norman's going to be an A for me. Monterey Jack. When he was first released, everybody thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Um, Opinions seem to have changed. I've actually not played Monterey Jack. I kind of want to. Um, he seems like he'd be pretty good. I'm gonna put Monterey Jack in a B plus. Lily Chen. Lily is the mystic that converts into a guardian. I think she's actually a lot better than people give her credit for. Um, because her stat line seems like it's not great, but it's phenomenal because you get plus ones to everything by the end of the campaign. Um, Lily's an A for me. She's good. Bob Jenkins, I've played him one time. I did not have a good experience, but I don't think it was. I think my deck that I built was not great. I also think on top of it that the people I was playing with didn't do a great job, and we also had a bad time in terms of how it went. Bob's gonna be a B plus for me, I think. I think you could probably, I'm gonna move Bob to A. I think if you do Bob and you do, test at 0, Bob's gonna be really strong. So we're gonna throw him there. Nathaniel Cho. Everybody sucks Nathaniel Cho's dick. Um, he's not great. I don't think he's that good. He's incredibly boring to play, and you could get caught with your pants around your ankles um, if you're out of money somehow. If you're out of cards, if you just find yourself in a solution where you can't do the Nathaniel Cho thing, I don't think he's reliable. Um, we're going to say B tier for Nathaniel Cho. Harvey the card drawing machine. Super strong. Really, really strong. He has lots of ways to counter his ability or counter his weakness. He's an A plus for me. Winifred. Winifred would absolutely be S tier, except for the fact that an auto fail will completely stall you for several turns. Um, she just draws cards like it's crazy. She just continues to draw cards. A plus for sure. I've never played Jacqueline Fine. Jacqueline Fine is a decent investigator. Her ability is pretty cool. The fact that you get to do it twice with her signature, she's so consistent. We're gonna say A plus. She's not game breaking because I don't necessarily think that she creates a lot of tempo. She's just consistent. Stella Clark. Stella Clark is a freaking machine. S tier. Um, what makes Stella like she's an amazing investigator before you take her signatures into account. With her signatures, she's S tier. She breaks the game. Carson. Fuck all of you. I don't care. Carson's S tier. Carson's S tier. I played Carson. I thought he was trash when he first came out. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the worst investigator that ever existed. And then I kept hearing that he was so good, and I played him. The way I built Carson is how I think you should build Carson. You basically just build a bunch of soak. Carson is all team soak. And you use your ability, like you don't do anything yourself. You use your turns to give them out to your friends and to move a little bit and to play team soak. And because if you build Carson in a way where you don't do anything and you just have skills that you throw at your friends, skills that you pass Mythos phase tests with, and team soak, your friends are invincible and you can play recklessly, they can play recklessly, and you have something worth fighting for. And what's the one, the health version of that? um, because you don't need to do anything, you don't have to put any cards in your deck that help you do anything, so all of those slots go to team soak. He's phenomenally broken. He's so much better than anyone gives him credit for. Vincent Lee, I've never played Vincent Lee. Disclaimer. Um, I don't think Vincent Lee does anything. He's a bad seeker because he only gets four. I think he's a C. I don't care. Kamani Jones. Um, Kamani is so powerful in theory. You can do a lot of breaking with Kamani Jones, but Kamani's also one of those investigators that if you're not set up properly, you can't do anything. The stat line isn't there except for evading. B. What's her name? Amina Zidane. I've played Amina Zidane. It actually went really well because I used Cyclopean Hammer and basically just hit things with that. But she sucks. She's awful. She's a terrible mystic. She's D tier. She doesn't do anything. Her ability gives you a little bit of economy, but you have to balance it against the fact that you can't just do it willy nilly. It creates doom. Trash. Crap. Daryl Simmons is Daryl's so good. Um, he's so fabulously good. Tested zero can't be beat with Daryl. He just trivializes just about anything. He's S tier. I've not played Charlie Kane. I haven't played him. I don't know how to. I don't know. We're gonna say B plus because I feel like he could be inconsistent. We're gonna say B plus. Disclaimer: I have no knowledge of this guy. Wilson Richards also have not played. Threes in all his stats. He's the investigator that lets you use tools. Um, I really like a deck that I saw recently from playing board games where you basically are a clover and you abuse the fingerprint kit. I imagine that's pretty good. Um, I think he's just mid. I think he just doesn't do anything, exciting. I did Kate Winthrop in a solo game. Um, Here's the problem with Kate. I her her science focus is like whatever. You can still focus on